The darkness of space stretched endlessly, a cold and empty void that seemed to swallow light and hope alike. For centuries, humans had wandered its vastness, leaving behind the remnants of their once great civilization on the distant edges of the galaxy. But as the years passed, they encountered more than just the unknown. They encountered enemies, beings whose intentions were as cryptic as the stars themselves. The year was 2371, and the Mercury, a heavily armed human warship, drifted near the edge of a dying star system. Its mission was simple reconnaissance and protection of the outer colonies. But the crew, led by Captain Elisa Rayner, knew something was wrong. The quiet of space had an unnerving stillness, like the calm before a storm. "Captain, we've picked up an anomaly," Lieutenant Aaron, the ship's lead sensor operator, reported from the command center. His voice trembled, an unusual crack in his usual calm demeanor. Rayner frowned, standing up from her command chair. "What kind of anomaly?" "It's hard to explain, Captain. It's like a massive energy surge. Or maybe a ship. It's enormous, far bigger than anything we've seen before." Rayner's heart raced. Bigger than anything we've seen before, that could only mean one thing. "Can you get a visual?" "Working on it, Captain. But the interference is too strong," Aaron muttered, his fingers flying over the console. The screen flickered before a massive shape materialized in the distance, a colossal ship, dwarfing the Mercury by an unimaginable size. Rayner's breath caught in her throat as she saw it. The ship's surface was jagged, as though made from the bones of some ancient, monstrous creature. It glowed faintly with a sickly green hue, pulsating with an eerie rhythm that seemed to mirror the beating of a heart. "What is that thing?" Aaron whispered in horror. Before Rayner could respond, the ship's presence became undeniable. A low hum reverberated through the hull of the Mercury, a sound so deep and resonant that it felt like the universe itself was speaking. The hum was soon replaced by a shrieking sound, like metal scraping against metal, causing Rayner's teeth to clench in reflex. The lights on the Mercury flickered. Red alert. The ship had entered combat mode. A message came through, barely audible over the static. "This is the Galatea, a Terran warship. We are under attack by a hostile alien vessel. We don't know what they are, but they're huge. We need help." The transmission was abruptly cut off. Rayner's pulse quickened as she turned to face her crew. "Prepare for battle. Shields up, weapons primed. We're going in. Dash dash." The Mercury accelerated toward the unknown vessel, its engines roaring as it pushed forward into the dark abyss. Rayner's mind raced. Who were these beings and why were they attacking? The ship loomed closer, a metallic nightmare that seemed to breathe. It was as though the ship itself was alive, its surface writhing, shimmering, pulsating with an unsettling energy. "Captain, we've got incoming!" Aaron shouted, his face pale as he watched the enemy ship's surface ripple. From the alien ship, huge tendrils shot out like a swarm of serpents, reaching toward the Mercury. They moved with impossible speed, and before the crew could react, they struck. A massive shudder ran through the Mercury as one of the tendrils slammed into the side of the ship. Sparks flew, and the hull groaned under the strain. The lights flickered again. "Damage report." Rayner barked. "Shield integrity at 60%. Hull breach in Sector 12, the engineer called out, her voice shaking. "Hold it together," Rayner shouted, gripping the armrest of her chair. "Return fire. Target their energy cores." The Mercury fired its weapons, lasers cutting through the darkness. The alien ship shuddered under the assault, but it wasn't enough. The tendrils struck again, this time wrapping around the Mercury like iron chains. The ship's weapons systems failed, and the crew screamed as the powerful grasp of the alien ship began to pull them closer. "Captain!" Aaron shouted, his voice filled with panic. "They're pulling us in." Raynor clenched her jaw. This was no ordinary battle. This was a fight for survival. "Lieutenant, activate emergency thrusters. Full power," she commanded. The ship lurched as its thrusters fired, struggling against the immense pull. But the alien ship's hold was too strong. One by one, the tendrils broke through the ship's hull, tearing through metal like paper. "Shields failing," Aaron said in a strained voice, eyes wide with terror. They breached the main reactor. The lights flickered, and the entire ship seemed to groan as if it were about to break apart. Outside, the alien ship was a horrific sight, its massive bulk dwarfing the Mercury. It was a living thing, its surface shifting and warping as if it were a body of flesh and metal. Raynor had never seen anything like it. The alien ship's power was incomprehensible. Its energy weapons made the Mercury seem like a toy. "Captain!" the comms officer shouted. "We're getting another message." Before she could finish, the ship's lights dimmed, and a strange voice filled the air. The voice was low, rumbling, like thunder from deep within the planet's core. "You are weak. You are insignificant. You do not belong here." Raynor's blood ran cold. The voice wasn't just in the ship's speakers, it was inside her head. She could hear it, feel it, in her very bones. Another tendril shot out, striking the bridge directly. Sparks flew as the ship was rocked violently. The command console exploded in a burst of flame, and the crew screamed as they were thrown from their seats. "Report!" Raynor shouted, struggling to regain control. "We've lost main power," the engineer gasped, crawling toward Raynor's chair. "The ship is falling apart." The enemy ship loomed overhead, its vast bulk casting an oppressive shadow across the Mercury. It was as though it was waiting for the final moment to strike. And then, as if in answer to their prayers, a distant rumble echoed through space, a familiar sound. Another ship had arrived. "This is the Galatea," came the voice of Commander Verne. "We're here to assist." The Galatea, another human warship, came into view, its weapons firing as it engaged the alien ship. The two ships joined forces, firing salvo after salvo of energy blasts, striking the alien ship with all their might. But the alien ship barely seemed to notice. It absorbed the blows, its surface warping and regenerating as though it was made of something more than metal. It retaliated with monstrous tendrils, reaching for the Mercury and the Galatea with terrifying speed. "Brace for impact!" Raynor yelled as another tendril shot out from the alien ship. The Mercury was struck again, its engines failing as the alien vessel's immense force tore through the hull. The Galatea wasn't faring much better. The alien ship retaliated, firing a beam of energy that struck the Galatea with catastrophic force, sending it tumbling into the black void. Raynor watched in horror as the Galatea was torn apart, its remains scattered like debris across the stars. "We can't keep this up!" Aaron screamed, his voice rising in panic. "We're outmatched." "We've got one shot left," Raynor said, her voice steely with resolve. "Aaron, initiate the quantum core overload." Aaron hesitated, then nodded. "Aye, Captain. But if this doesn't work, we're done for." Raynor looked at the alien ship one last time, its massive, pulsating form. She didn't know what kind of creature could construct such a monstrosity, but she knew one thing: it wasn't going to be the end. She reached for the comms. All hands, prepare for the final strike. The Mercury's engines flared one last time, pushing the ship toward the enemy vessel. The quantum core powered up, glowing with an intense energy that threatened to tear the ship apart. With a final, deafening roar, the Mercury rammed into the alien ship, its quantum core detonating with the force of a supernova. The explosion was the brightest thing Rayner had ever seen, a blinding light that engulfed everything. And then, silence. For a long time, there was nothing but the cold, empty void of space. And then, a single message crackled through the void. We are coming. The war was far from over.